Piggy has a lot of maps. Revolutionary statement, I know. With so many maps, there are definitely some that are better than others, so I decided to rank every single Book 1 map to see which ones I like the best. And I've got tiers ranging from S to D, as I don't think there are any bad maps, just annoying ones. And before I start, I'm just going to clarify this will only cover Book 1 maps, minus Distorted Memory, but that'll be in a different video. I'll be ranking these maps on fairness for Piggy and players, looks and story, and overall just how much I like them. And with that being said, let's start with the D tier maps. Actually only one D tier map, and that is the Carnival. Carnival kinda sucks. It's an open square layout, which means players can spot Piggy from miles away and just run around, which I don't really like, especially if I'm Piggy. It makes it impossible to catch players, and there are no really good spots to place traps or anything. I actually really like how the map looks, but the second problem with this map is that it just gets replayed so many times. It's ridiculous. If you join a public server, 9 times out of 10 it will just be the Carnival map. And you know, once you see a good thing over and over and over again, it starts becoming less good, you know what I'm saying? The story is also pretty good. We get to meet Zizzy and Pony for the first time, but you know, that's about it. Yeah, so the only reason I'd ever play on Carnival would be to grind Piggy tokens with the hard mode Swarm combo. But yeah, I don't really do it that much, so that's why it gets its spot in the D tier. And now moving on to the C tier maps. The first one to start us off is the school map, and like in Carnival, it's usually just a big square, except it's got a second floor. So we got 2 floors where players can just run around on, and that can be really annoying as Piggy. My other problem with this map is that it doesn't really look like a school. For a school with only 3 classrooms, it must not be very big. And also, for some reason, the school has lasers installed. Like, what do you need that for? Story, again, pretty good. You know, we meet Bunny and Mr. P for the first time. But, yeah, again, that's about it. Meeting new characters, nothing too interesting. Overall, I think it's a pretty average, basic map. And that's why it's getting in the C tier. It's not good, it's not bad, but at least it's not Carnival. And rounding out our C tier is the forest map, and again, it's got the same problem as Carnival. It's open, it's big, and it's very easy for players to just run around the map the whole time, leaving Piggy to not be able to do anything about it. The Piggy does have Doggy on its side, but he's kind of useless. He doesn't really do much. You know, he's very easy to avoid. Even this thing where he tells Piggy where the players are, you know, they're usually gone by the time the Piggy gets to that spot. I think the cabins on the map are pretty basic, and also that big tower in the middle is kind of a problem. It works really weirdly. I mean, some parts you'll die from falling from a short area, but you can jump off the second level plank area, and I'm pretty sure you'll still be fine. So, very strange. And this chapter doesn't really have the best story, you know, nothing too much in the intro cutscene, nothing too much in the ending cutscene. So yeah, overall C tier, where it deserves to be. Now for our B tier maps, these are pretty good, better than average. And to start us off, we got the gallery map. Now the gallery map is small and cramped, which is usually how I like Piggy maps, so that's why I've got it this high. Unfortunately, again with the story, it does feel like a filler chapter. You don't really do much in here. You talk with Doggy for a bit, but that's about it. And also, a quick question, how the hell is Mother there? We drove a car to get to the gallery, and you're telling me Mother just walked there? Are you kidding me? Anyway, I think the map really looks good, and I think it's actually pretty balanced-ish, you know. Players can get things done really quickly in this map, but also it's very easy for Piggy to catch players. But that's also a problem, because the stairs on this map, very easy for Piggy to camp, and if they are doing that, you can't really do anything about it. So bottom of C tier is where gallery belongs. On to the next one. Now we've got the mole map, and just like the school, it's basically just square times 2. And I really like the bot for this chapter. When I first saw Robbie in 2020, I thought he was really cool, and I mained him for a bit after I bought him. I really liked his chainsaw arm, and yeah. We got to meet Georgie for the first time, which is good for the story, as well as other Safe Place members like Z, Zuzi, and we even saw Mimi and Giraffe in the background. This is also where TSP notes started to really show up more, and yeah. But the reason why I have the mole so far down is because of the Poly quests. I didn't get Poly, so now I hate Poly and everything associated with it. Oh, and my final nitpick about Mole is that it gets voted way too much, especially with players trying to get the prototype skin. So, yeah. Anyway, on to the next one. And now we've got the house map. And honestly, I think it's pretty good. Again, it's very easy for Piggy to camp the stairs, and then there's basically nothing you can really do about it, which is a shame, but you know. Also, the Piggy house is, I'm pretty sure, just straight up the granny house, so it loses some points for originality there. And then vent campers, again, is another problem with that vent we've got in the basement. I think it looks alright, but again, lasers, what the hell? Also, the big gap in between the roof. There is no way the Piggy household members are just using a plank to cross that top part of their house every single time. Not much story in the house. You know, we're just a police officer, we get hit on the head, that's about it. And I think it's a pretty good map. You know, it's the basic map, it's the base map for Piggy, it's the map that all Piggy News YouTubers use in the background of their thumbnails. So with that, I'll just put it in the C tier and move on to the final map of the C tier. And lastly, we've got the plant map. Now, I think this map looks really good. I liked all the neon lights, all the color-coded areas, and yeah, overall, I actually think this map is pretty balanced. Now, the first part of the map, I reckon you could say that it's more player-based, it's very wide, allowing players to run around a lot, but it starts to get more balanced in the second phase of the map, where we get transported into distorted memory like map, and there are some rooms in this part of the plant that Piggy can really take advantage of and capture players. Unfortunately, Mr. P is also on the Piggy side, which, yeah, really broken. I'm pretty sure he makes no sound when he walks, and he's got his stupidly weird, wacky AI pathfinding movements. Sometimes he'll walk, sometimes he won't. And then he's got his stunning, shotgun sort of stuff. Also really hate Badgie in this map. I think he looks really ugly, especially his arm. Don't think it was done the right way. Very strange, but you know, we'll move on. So that rounds out the B tier, and now we're gonna move on to the A tier maps. Starting with the Outpost. It is big, open, easy for players to run around, and for some reason I like it. I don't know why. Don't know what's up with this map that's different with the other ones I've been complaining about, but for some reason I like the Outpost map. I also really like how the Outpost looks. We got many buildings, again color coded, we got multiple floors. I really like having the soldiers around the map and Zizzy going to take out those soldiers. Some reason for me, it really makes the map feel more alive and makes the environment feel more alive. It's a really fun map to play on. I like the tank, and the story in the end's pretty interesting. You know, Georgie shows up again, Zizzy and Pony have to fight off a bunch of soldiers. I like this map, and that's why I'm putting it in the A tier. And now City, again, I don't know why, it's a square layout, but some reason the buildings just make it better than all the other ones. The outside really is difficult for Piggy to catch players, but the inside of those buildings is where it starts to turn around. You know, small, cramped, great for Piggy, and I think that balances it out a bit. I like the mechanic of 2 Piggies being on this map. You got your regular Piggy and the grandmother. Even if she moves a bit slower, I think it just makes the game a little bit more difficult, and you really gotta think twice before you do some stuff. In the end cutscene, we do get to learn more about Zizzy and Pony, which, cool. And this is also the map where you start to do the true ending, so yeah, that's also pretty cool. But yeah, that's my only two maps that I've got in the A tier. Now we're gonna move on to the S tier maps, the best of the best, and we're up to the top 3. In third place, I've got the station. This used to be my favorite map in the game. I really like it. It had multiple levels. It's closed and open. It's got different areas, different floors. It's really nice. I think the layout's pretty balanced. There's definitely areas where Piggy can catch up to players, like in the acid area. And there's places where players can, run around, avoid Piggy, and yeah. Story, pretty lackluster, which is why it's been knocked down so much. We get to meet Doggy for the first time. That's cool, but yeah. Anyway, I really like the station map. Very underrated in my opinion. I don't think I've seen many people, play on this map very much. But yeah, that is the station, and now moving on to the next map. In second place, we got the Metro. I adore the Metro map. It's closed and cramped, which is how I like my Piggy maps to be. I think it's really balanced. There's a lot of running area and choke points for Piggy to get at. The bot for this map is also really cool, Piggy. I really like him. And the theme. For some reason, I really like Piggy's theme. And then the story, it's the big chapter. Bunny dies, and it sets up not only players' path to look for Mr. P for their revenge, but it also sets up Bunny's story in decay. And yeah. And the only reason this map is at second place is because the first place map is just so much better. And the best map of Piggy Book 1 is the hospital. I love this map. Again, it's closed and cramped, which is really good. A lot of spots for Piggy to catch the player. And, it's a square, which means players can run around. But it's more balanced than other square maps, which is why I really like it. Especially that spot in the end, but near the exit. That's a really good spot for Piggy to catch players. Anyway, again, I really like the bot Barry. His roar is pretty cool. I like his weapon, the doctor's outfit. And the story, Mr. P's betrayal. He's left without us. Where did he go? Big questions. And one last note, I love the color scheme of white and red. I don't know why, it's just really good. And it does look like a hospital, a lot of heart monitors and rolling beds. But yeah, that is my ranking of all the Piggy Book 1 maps. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed, consider subscribing. I'll be making more videos for the next 2 weeks because it's school holidays now. Yippee! And with that, I will see you in the next video. Bye.